Bogo Sports here. I want to do a quick recap, instant reaction to the Suns versus Nuggets game. I watched it a little bit behind so I could skip through the commercial, so it's late here. I'm tired, and I don't want to be too long-winded here. But Suns got a much-needed win, 112 to 114. Season was on the line. As a Suns fan, I was highly critical entering in, and I'm still somewhat critical. I'll get into that more, but I'm happy we won for sure, as our season's still alive now. And there's a new, glimmer of hope in this series. So let's start with the Nuggets. The Nuggets really were interesting tonight. I mean, Murray played better, so he looked more like his game one self, showing game two was an anomaly. Anybody could say that. That was obvious, but I just felt like they were off from the start. Now, one of the big things that was, and it was still a close game throughout. So there's something to be said for that. But my thing was there was not enough Jokic. And what did he have tonight? He had 30, 17, and 17. And I'm not even just saying this. I believe there was not nearly enough Jokic. I'm shocked by this guy every single time I watch him. There's a few players where I'm like this currently, where I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, everybody's great in the NBA now. There's so many great shot makers and stuff, but with Jokic, there's very few times in the series. There's a couple passes tonight, but for the most part, every single time he touches the ball, something amazing happens. Not just good. Generally, it's an amazing play he makes, and it's always the right one. 98% of the time. So I just felt like sometimes, I would, at the beginning of the game when Murray was getting off, I said, okay, at least it's not Murray and Jokic, or Murray getting points being set up by Jokic. I just feel like there wasn't enough Jokic tonight. Even though he touched the ball often, I feel like they need to make more of an emphasis on running the offense completely through him. In the regular season, you can get away with Jokic kind of just distributing, scoring one game, looking to find his teammates the other, not always having to run the offense through him, even though they do often. But I feel like in the postseason, I think game two should be a little bit more of a blueprint than game one, because game one everybody went off, and that's not going to be as common of an occurrence with the Nuggets. But regardless, I mean, it was close. They were a couple missed shots from some of their role players away from potentially winning the game. So that's kind of what scared me as a Suns fan. Let's get into the Suns. Booker and Durant, 47 plus 39. What is that? 86? I don't know. I'm not the best, but they combined for 86 points. Durant played 43 minutes. Booker played 42. I mean, they just put the team on their back. And Durant went 12 for 31. His jump shot was off all night from the start. Made the adjustment, started attacking the rim, drew a bunch of fouls, shot 16 free throws. I mean, he was awesome because I could tell from Durant, even with all those missed shots, he understood the gravity of the game. He understood how important this game was, and he was like, I don't care. I'm going to keep shooting. I'm going to shoot myself into this game. And he did, even though the shot never got going he hit a couple nice jumpers in the second half, but he was missing throughout, but he was just attacking, and it was huge. And then what can you say about Booker? I mean, he's another guy, this playoffs, this is truly his coming out party. As Suns fans, we know how amazing this guy's been. And, in the beginning of his career, he was snubbed from the All-Star game. And then recently, I just feel like they don't talk about him. Nobody in the national, even when we made it to the final, it's just people aren't talking about him. Now, maybe that's me being a little bit biased, but this is his coming out party. I mean, this guy he shot 2 free throws at the end of the game. He went 20 for 25 with 47 points. He is one of the best scorers I've seen in a very, very long time. One of the best, certainly, in the last 10 years. I mean, his shot-making ability in the mid-range is beautiful, and we need Booker and Durant to do this every single game if we want a chance in this series. Now, Sunday is pivotal, in my opinion. The crowd did play a factor tonight, and if we're down 3-1 heading back to the Nuggets, back to Denver, it's bleak. If we win on Sunday, okay, it's 2-2. And then we just have to steal one. One thing that was huge tonight, even though seeing TJ Warren and Landry Shamet, who I am not a fan of Landry Shamet. And let me just say this. It is so apparent, and everybody knows this, and it's a huge narrative right now, but we have no bench. And I think as Suns fans, we kind of blocked that out of our mind, or really just ignored it. As one, it was the regular season, and two, we're like, oh my goodness, we got Kevin Durant. who cares? But it's being shown throughout this postseason. It's extremely important to have when you have no players behind, your starting five. And Ayton's a whole other story. I mean, he wasn't even relevant. But that gets into this point of the others were at least present tonight. In some of the other games of the series, 4 points, your bench scores. The others, they weren't great. I mean, like I said, TJ Warren and Landry Shamet at the end of the game is disgusting. No finals team or finals contenders should have that happening. But they were present. The chief among those was Jock Landale. Tremendous performance. He literally took Ayton out of the game by playing harder. He wanted it. It's just, Ayton is just mind-boggling. He's like Anthony Davis, but worse with how he plays. I mean, he's so uber talented. I mean, this guy I really believe he could be like, one of the most dominant big men. I was going to say like Hakeem, but whatever. He could be one of the most dominant big men in the last 20 years. And it's just, he doesn't have the mindset for it. And even though I feel like as Suns fans and nationally, everybody's kind of accepted that, it's just so frustrating. It's continually frustrating. But it was huge minutes from Landale tonight. He was all over the boards, making even making Joker take some difficult shots, battling for rebounds. I mean, it was a great performance by Landale. So he was present. Cam Payne did an amazing job in place of Chris Paul. There wasn't a big drop off there. Landry Shamet, like I said, I'm really not a fan of this guy. TJ Warren, I'm not a fan of him being in the game. He hit some shots at the end, but Terrence Ross, I was not against that move, even though he's kind of a chucker. It's like we need something. We need some sort of spark. He hit a couple shots. And Torrey Craig, I mean, it was kind of... Monty Williams, I have not been his biggest fan this postseason, but I'm not going to complain about a win. But I do feel like it's just weird that Kogi and Torrey Craig played no minutes. But there were so many... TJ Warren. I mean, TJ Warren played 26 minutes. There's no need for him to play 26 minutes. He had a couple shots at the end of the game, but other than that, he was horrendous. And the same goes for Shamet, who hit, a couple shots, right? He had 4 points, but I don't know. Our bench is a mess. And that's why, to wrap up, I just say I do feel like the Nuggets should win this series. I mean, they're simply the better team. I don't know if I finished this point that I was talking earlier about, but I mean, Jokic, like I said, he amazes me every single time. I call him the magician, even though he's the Joker. I mean, this guy, it's Giannis or Jokic. And honestly, watching this series, I'm like, is he better than Giannis? This guy is just such an amazing player. So I was going to say, arguably the best player in the league. He is so much better than Joel Embiid, in my opinion. There's Embiid, and then there's Jokic. He's a different level, in my opinion. And I'm also jaded against Embiid because I'm just not a fan of him. But I just believe that they have, one of the two best players in the world. To keep it short, one of the two best players in the world, a extremely solid 7 around him. They're well coached. They have home court advantage. I think everything is in their favor for them to come out better. Make some slight adjustments. Booker and KD just don't combine for 86 points, and they cruise, and they do take the series. So that's still where I'm leaning. But as a fan, of course, I want the Suns to somehow pull it off. But like I said, Booker and Durant are gonna have to go off. So I said I was gonna be quick, and I went. 9 minutes isn't bad, but I would love to hear what you guys thought about that game. It was a fun game to watch. Booker and Durant. This is such an awesome combination. I can't wait to see the next iteration of this team after an off season. It's just gonna be fun. But that's a different discussion for a different day. Glad the Suns got the win. I'll be back soon. Peace.